I've been thinking about the Olympics. We're going to watch so many incredible people on our TVs. What are they doing today? They're getting up, they're training, and we're just not going to see the results until they're on the big screen. You have to try and fail and learn and do that 100 times.
Rewrite. New life, new beginning.
Hey, I'm Jonathan Unthank. Welcome to another edition of the Rewrite podcast. And this is going to be a lot of fun today. Mary-Clair is my guest, and Mary's got a fun story of what it's like to be a part of the Christian music industry. I guess you want to say maybe from birth,
Right,
or,
right.
or close to it, and then launching out into doing her own thing as well and seeing where God leads her that way.
Oh.
So, man, thank you for hanging out for a little bit today.
Of course. Thank you, Mr. Jonathan. What's up, Light FM family? I'm so happy to be here. This is awesome.
So, what's life like right now? I mean, you've just been through an ice storm in Nashville. What's the latest with your family and your friends, that sort of thing?
We're cold. We're cold. That one word. We're all freezing. Everything's frozen. You walk in the parking lot and people are slipping. I mean, everyone's grabbing each other's hands outside. It's cold. There's like trees in the road. I had a friend, he had to go to the grocery store and he brought a chainsaw just so he could, get the trees, move them out of the road. So it's craziness, but it's a good
Wow.
break. Yeah.
So power's restored in most areas, or it's getting there.
It's honestly, there's still some parts in downtown Nashville that people
Yeah.
don't have power, but
Wow.
I live out in the country, and honestly, we barely lost it. So I feel like it should
Wow.
be opposite. The city should have power, but we've been okay out here.
So still lots of prayer.
Yeah, yeah, for
Cool.
sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I know let's see, we connected what, a couple years ago,
Hmm.
when you're releasing your music and kind
Yep.
of stepping out there and seeing what God has for you, in
Hmm.
that regard. What First of all, let's go back to growing up. Tell us about your family. Tell us about your growing up in the music industry, and then we'll
Absolutely.
go from there.
Well, so I mean, I grew up in Nashville, Tennessee, and my dad works with MercyMe. He's their manager, and so I was born into it. I was, as a newborn, I was in the studio and I was on tour buses, and so I was constantly surrounded by Christian music and incredible Christian music. I mean, audio adrenaline and in the early days it was so much fun to just be a kid and always be surrounded by so many incredible artists and incredible music and I remember as I got older my siblings all kind of found their hobbies. My brother liked airplanes and my sister, she loved to dance, and my other sister loves horses, and I was like, I like the music. I love what dad does, so I would always tag along with him. If he was going to go to the studio on a late night, my mom was tucking us all into bed. I would say, Mom, please, please, can I go with him? She would say, Yeah, go ahead, go ahead. So, I mean, I'm just thankful that I got a firsthand, view of all of it at such a young age. And when it was time to pick where I needed to go to college, I said, I'm just going to go all in and I'm going to do music. So I've stayed in Nashville. I'm still living at home, free rent, free food. So living the life. But yes, I love it. I love music, and I'm so thankful that I get to be in this world.
That's awesome. Yeah, when it comes to creating your own stuff, you're like, wow, the Lord helped me create something like this. This is, or when you're feeling called to do something,
Right.
there's something special, because it's not just you in your own strength making it happen. It's like, okay, there's some inspiration from the Lord that's allowing this to take place. When did you start realizing that, when it's like, okay, this is my own stuff that the Lord's putting into my heart to get out there? Do you remember a certain day or age?
Honestly, I remember the night that I was going to release my first song. I was like, this is so much fun. I'm so excited. But when the clock hit midnight and I was able to, see my artistry and my music out in the world, I cried. I couldn't believe it. It's that feeling whenever you do something that's going to outlive you
Hmm.
and something that's more important than yourself. And so I got hooked. It was like an addiction. I was like, I love music. I love sharing my thoughts in a way that can help people. And so, yeah, that was my moment for sure, where I thought, I think I have something to bring to the table. And then
Yeah.
just, the support that comes in. It's just that reassurance and especially just, those talks with the Lord where he can say, I've brought you this far, we're not going to stop now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's cool. How did you come into a relationship with Jesus? I know you've been around Christian music, your entire life and stuff like that, but what's the thing that fuels you, from that relationship with Jesus? How did that all start?
I mean, I grew up in church. I'm in the Bible Belt. Nashville is a very, Christian music, Christian heavy town. So it wasn't uncommon to just have friends in school and we would go to Bible class or everyone's meeting up at youth group on Wednesday nights. It was always the culture around here. But I would say when I hit that teenager, 13, 14, 15. I mean, I went through some hard times. We lost my grandma and a few friends, and that was kind of the first time where I thought, why are bad things happening? And I really had to talk to the Lord about that. And honestly, just, I mean, a lot of people say that young girls experience this, but I think everyone does. Just who am I? Am I worthy? Am I valuable? All of those feelings kind of culminating around that age. I would say high school was a really big time for me with picking friend groups and who am I going to hang out with on Friday night, you know? And so those little things where you hear the Lord and then you hear the world and you have to kind of figure out who you are in the midst of all of it. But I would say I found him the most when I started, singing about him and making my songs about him and choosing him over all the other content that I could make music about because that's where I feel like he's met me the most and helped me walk through the hard stuff.
I wonder, and you bring up a good point, especially those that, I'm the same way, and my kids are the same way. That's the culture they know and they've grown up in. I'm a
Hmm.
preacher's kid, so I mean, it's like all I've known is
Yep.
that thing. But there was a point where I had to make the choice myself.
Hmm.
Okay, I'm going to follow Jesus now. It's not my parents' faith anymore.
Yeah.
It's mine. I'm gonna own it. That kind of thing.
Right.
And so that came to you through your music. Then okay, if I'm gonna step out in music, then okay,
Hmm.
God, it's for you.
Hmm.
My life. I'm giving my gifts, my talents, me. I'm giving everything to you. You take it. You use it however you want to use it. That sort of
Amen.
thing.
I love it.
That's cool. That's awesome. So now, okay, you're making music. I mean, what are you dreaming right now? What are you thinking?
I mean, honestly, I've been kind of floating through the last 2 years. I've been putting out songs and I've just been focusing on the next song. And I put out my first album last summer. And I'm kind of like, I'm not thinking about the next song because I just put out a whole project. So there's nothing else to focus on except, who am I as an artist and the grind and going to play shows where I mean, I played a coffee shop the other day, no one showed up. And I just heard the Lord being like, this is it. This
Yeah,
is
yeah,
where, true musicians are you going to stick it out? And so I think what's been really cool about growing up, just with my dad is that I'm able to see those artists and learn from them. But I think kind of the juxtaposition, the hard part of it is that I never saw their struggle years. I can only imagine came out before I was born. So by the time I was growing up, they were already on the big tour buses and the dressing rooms and the bright lights. And I've never had to see firsthand what it's like to have those years. And so now that I'm walking through those, I'm kind of, asking people that have been through it, like, am I doing this right? I put out my album and I don't feel like I'm, doing good enough. And is this okay? And they're like, it's the grind. You
yeah,
just got
yeah,
to put your head down and practice and sing and sing and sing. And so I'm excited for this year. I feel like I want to be intentional and work hard and just see what can happen.
yeah. Yeah, I was talking to somebody actually earlier today about that same thing.
Whoa.
About just um my kids and their kids, it
Hmm.
became that parent conversation of just the way the world is for them
Hmm.
is they're so used to instantaneous results
Yeah.
that you miss the in between. Say
Hmm.
for example, like an athlete, what they see online or scrolling or, stories and reels on a phone, that's the that's where the payoff has come. That's what you see on the screen, but you don't see all the time and effort and tears and all that went on behind the scenes to get to that point.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, there's a lesson in that, for
Mm-hmm.
all of us, is just it takes time sometimes.
Right.
And
Right.
that's, I mean, can you imagine at this point, you're young, you're dreaming, if you didn't have the Lord to and good people surrounding you to encourage you and to push you, and to
Mm-hmm.
say, hey, this is part of it, but keep going, keep going,
Mm-hmm.
keep going. That's maybe something to think about, just as an encouragement for those that are listening,
Mm-hmm.
is yeah, it's going to take some hard work possibly in whatever you're dealing with or whatever you're striving toward, but the payoff will come as long as the Lord's involved in the process.
That's right. Honestly, I've been thinking about the Olympics coming up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, those we're gonna watch so many incredible people on our TVs. What are they doing today? They're getting up, they're training, and we're just not gonna see the results until they're on the big screen. And so I had that same thought, but something I've always loved to think about is just the idea of failure. And my dad always says failure is the key to my success. And he's like, the more you can fail, the more you can learn, and that's a win. So it's just switching that mindset of like, I only want to do it if I'm perfect at it. No, no, no. You have to try and fail and learn and do that 100 times. And so honestly, I that's kind of the stage that I'm in.
Yeah.
Trying out ideas and writing songs. And was that good? Oh, throw it away. Let's write a new one. You can always start again. So yeah, that's definitely a big encouragement for anyone listening right now. Is failure is a key to a lot of people's success.
Yeah, yeah, you're exactly right. That's well, and you grow some spiritual muscle in the meantime.
Hmm.
You find
That's
out
right.
who you are, but you
Yeah.
but you but you also see that you're not alone in that process. That there's good that comes out of it. Well, it's like the
Yeah.
all things work together scripture. All
Hmm.
things work together. That's not just the good stuff. It's everything. It's the hard times. It's all coming together for your good, and God gets glory out of it in the end. This is Rewrite, Stories of New Life in Jesus. I'm Jonathan Unthank. If you'd like to join a community of listeners who enjoy hearing the life stories of Christian music artists and influencers, then join the Rewrite text group by texting the word Rewrite. That's REWRITE to 81891. But more importantly, if you'd like to dig deeper into your own relationship with Jesus, you can begin that journey today by texting his name, Jesus, to 81891. God bless you. Join me next time for another episode of Rewrite.